Hello, thanks again for joining me. I'm Stephanie Anderson with Simply Bound, and today I have another tutorial for you. This one is called the knot stitch. It is just a fun little textured stitch to just give your stockinette stitch a little bit of pop. I use this stitch. This is my Adoration Shawl. So that stitch is part of this shawl. I will place a link for this pattern down in the notes if you are interested in taking a look at that. All right, and without further ado, we will go ahead and get started with the tutorial. Okay, here is a little mini swatch of this stitch. And you can see it is a stitch, it's worked on alternating rows. So I worked a couple rows. I'm gonna go ahead and work the next row. And the next row, the little knot is going to be worked between the knots in the previous knot row below. So this stitch is worked over, let's just say 6 stitches. You need 3 stitches for your knot stitch and then 3 stitches between where you're going to work your next knot stitch. So it's a 6-stitch repeat. I'm going to go ahead and knit my selvage edge here. Okay, and because I had a knot on my previous knot row here, I'm going to go ahead and knit those first 3 stitches. Now my next 3 stitches are the 3 stitches that are going to make up the knot stitch. So it's important that you don't knit too tightly, because you are going to be working several stitches into these 3 stitches at the same time. So the first step of the knot stitch, excuse me, is to purl those 3 stitches together. So you're going to go ahead and purl them together, but you are not going to drop these off. You're going to go ahead and move your yarn to the back of your work, and you are going to knit those 3 stitches together. Once again, do not drop it off your needle. You're going to bring your yarn to the front one more time and purl those 3 stitches together again. So now you have created 3 new stitches. Then you knit the next 3 stitches. And we see that our knot from the previous row is below those 3 stitches. So now the next 3 stitches are going to be our next knot stitch. So taking those 3 and purling them together, do not drop them off. Move your yarn to the back and knit those 3 stitches together. Move your yarn back to the front and go ahead and purl those stitches together and then drop them off. Knit your next 3 and we will work one more. The next 3 stitches you're going to purl together, leave them on the needle, move your yarn to the back, knit them together, move your yarn to the front and purl them together one more time. And then work to the end of your row or wherever your repeat is. So they look kind of funny on this row because they're kind of all smushed together. So when you work the wrong side, this stitch works in the round just the same way as it does flat, except you work the stockinette rows in between. For this swatch, I chose to do 3 rows in between. It needs to be an odd row because your knot rows are worked on your right side row. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and knit those first 3. All right, and then to maintain stockinette, I'm going to purl on the wrong side. If you're working in the round, you will just knit this round. So here you can see those 3 stitches from the 3, 1, 2, 3, they were all purl, knit, and purl together. So you're gonna purl on the wrong side if you're knitting flat each of those stitches individually. And you will do that across your row. For all of the knot stitches that you made, you treat them all as individual stitches. That way your stitch count stays the same and you're not increasing or decreasing anything out. So then I'm going to go ahead and work 2 more rows in stockinette before I would work my next knot row. Okay, when you complete those 3 rows of stockinette, you will see your 3rd row of knots right there. So you can just see how they're staggered. So now on your next knot row, let me work my selvage edge here. Okay, so you can see that on my previous knot row, my knot is over here. So these first 3 stitches will be my knot stitch on this next row since they are staggered. So I will go ahead and purl those 3 together, leaving them on my needles. And I will knit those 3 together, move my yarn back to the front, and then purl those 3 stitches together one more time to create the knot stitch. You will continue in this manner across your row. So I had made that knot stitch and I knit 3, and now I'm going to make another knot stitch. So purl those 3 together, move my yarn to the back, and knit those 3 together, move my yarn back to the front, and purl those 3 together again. And there you have it. The fun, beautiful little knot stitch. I hope you all enjoy this fun little stitch as much as I do. It's simple, but it just adds a little bit of pop and texture into your stockinette if that's something that you're looking for. Just a reminder again about the stockinette rows that you work in between the knot stitch rows. It does need to be an odd number because let's back up. If you are working flat, it needs to be an odd number because the knot row needs to be worked on the right side row. If you're working in the round, you could absolutely do an even number since you are knitting every round in the round to obtain a stockinette pattern. But just a reminder to not knit those stitches too tightly, because if you do, when you go to knit the knot stitch, you're going to find it difficult to get your needle in to do that that initial purl 3 together. That's all for today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and that you have a wonderful day.